All right. I think we have achieved live streaming. Let me see here. Maybe it's still loading up. Are we in? We live? I think so. All right. Cool. How's everybody doing? Who's got some wins? Who's got some exciting stuff to share? Whoa.
Everybody wants to talk at the same time.
Yeah. I don't have much new, but man, life's good. That's a win right there. Just a good week.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Hanging out.
Where have you been rolling lately, Patrick?
Just skiing. I love the ski lifestyle. I'm all about it.
Patrick, you need a ski buddy?
Dude, come down anytime. I absolutely love it. So I mean, on Tuesday I went. There's a big storm happening right now, so I'm debating going tomorrow. I'm gonna go Friday for sure. A lot of snow, and you just pick and choose where you want to go. Everything's like an hour, 20 hour and a half away. But like, so on Tuesday, actually, I woke up at 4:30 and I worked for 3 hours till 7:30. And then I left with a friend to go skiing. At 7:45, got there, started skiing at like 9:20. I mean, we got there at like 9:20, and then we skied till 1. I got back and I worked for a couple more hours, and I mean, I still got all my work done, and I got to go skiing. So
yeah, what an awesome way
but
to.
if I had a 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to do that. So
yeah,
it's cool. Like I still worked 5 hours, but I got to take off the middle of the day and rip the mountain, which is awesome.
That's cool, man. That's part of why I do this too. That freedom to just kind of do what we want, be on our own schedule. So awesome, man. Even though that might not be like a win for this week, it's certainly a win to have achieved this lifestyle, because there's a lot of people stuck in the 9 to 5 that are in meetings and have to ask for days off to go and do something like that,
Exactly.
Cool. Anybody else? Do we got some wins? What's up, Jack Romer? Welcome to the call, man. It's good to see you popping on here. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Cool, man. We got Devon. What's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. How's Oklahoma?
It's one of the 50 states. It's here.
Yes, that's what they say about it.
Like they say, it is okay.
Awesome. Well, I know at some point you may choose to live somewhere more than okay. We got Graham from Australia. It's good to see you guys. All right.
Hey,
any other wins?
What's going on, Pat?
What's up, brother?
Oh man, just kicking a few goals and taking a few injuries.
Yeah. You talking about the World Cup?
No, man, I'm just talking about
Australia. They made it out of the first round. The Aussies.
Yeah, we kind of, we got a little ways. We were happy with how far we got before we got our ass kicked. We got our top players probably gets like $100,000 a year, man. It's like the poverty pack.
Well, hey man, start somewhere and work up.
Exactly.
It was cool to have a lot of these other countries that maybe are not as well known, like Morocco, making it to the semifinals. That's awesome. It kind of gives hope and puts some of these other places on the map and lets them know that it's possible. And hopefully that, for me, it's my favorite sport. So I hope it kind of helps spread that. But anyone else have any wins before we jump into it? You were mentioning planning. We're going to talk about that today. But any other final wins before we hop into it?
Collected a little 8K since last meeting.
A little 8K.
Little 8K. Little lunch money.
A little lunch money. I love it,
a little
man.
Lunch money around the holidays. We could all use a little lunch money.
Yeah, that's
all I gotta say, man, is this is an adult flex. I think like the more and more wealth that I guess I should say money that I make, the more like flexing and taking your family on trips, or like, Jen made me buy like the $700 artificial Costco Christmas tree. And I'm like, it's a fucking $700 tree. Are you crazy? But you know what, man, it makes her happy. And this year is going to be the best Christmas, the best Christmas ever.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always a challenge, man. I haven't spent a lot of myself from what we've earned. I put it back into the business to try to grow things. But where I personally find to do it is on trips, experiences, doing that kind of stuff. So we've booked a hotel room in New York City, looking over Times Square for New Year's Eve this year. So we've got some friends coming in to hang out with us, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and that wouldn't be something that would be easily achieved if I was in some 9-to-5 job. So
bucket list, man, bucket list for sure.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Tell them your sock story, Patrick. And maybe you've said it before, but
yeah. So for me, as we were building our agency, and this actually wasn't that long ago. I think this was probably last year. I think it was probably about a year ago.
This was last year because you were telling me the story.
Yeah. So, our agency has done well, and we built a software company. We've taken a lot of the money from our agency and put it into the software company to try to accelerate that. And that's not cheap. I have no problem, as the people on my team will, I believe, support putting more money back into the business. We bought courses and just, tried all sorts of different things. But I had I needed new socks. Those were sitting in the Amazon shopping cart for probably a month, and I couldn't pull the trigger because that was, like, for me personally, like, I don't need it. It's something that I was looking at it like it was a luxury. And, it's good to be frugal, and a lot of successful people have that, but all the hard work we do, it has to be for us creating, a better life for ourselves. So you need to take it and make sure that you're, like, enjoying those moments. I lost a developer, one of my first employees. He had maybe my first one ever. He had worked for me for like 6 years, and he died suddenly, and he had no plans of dying. And then he was gone. I talked to him that morning. He said he had a headache. He went to the hospital. He had an aneurysm and died in the hospital as like a 30-year-old, and he was gone. And it really, you can hear these cliches. And this is why, as we get older, we get wiser, in my opinion, is this experience of actually, like, living this. But if we could just take other people's advice and actually take it without having to go through it ourselves, we would learn so much faster. And I've heard that, like, I've heard it that, enjoy the moments and this stuff, but I didn't do it. And then he was gone. And you know what? I had been driving. I owned, I think, 4 houses at the time, and I was driving a $1,200 car. And, we're buying these houses and we're doing this stuff. And my realtor says to me, he's like, well, like, this is kind of embarrassing. You should buy a car at some point. And I'm like, I don't need a car. And then when this guy died, a week later, I bought a Lexus. I'm like, I want to enjoy driving around. And I booked a trip to Hawaii. I'd always wanted to go. And it was a big learning experience. We're going to talk about this kind of relates to where we're going today with this. So today, we do this every year at the end of the year. We kind of plan out the next year. So we're going to plan out 2023, and we're going to get into some of those goals. And some of you guys, I know a lot of you guys have been on these calls for years. And some of this, it will be a good refresher for you guys. There's things that we've added to it. There's stuff. We're constantly going to masterminds and learning, and we're tweaking things and adjusting it. So there's going to be some changes to what we've done in the past for our planning. But I'm going to share this with you guys in the group here. I've got kind of a workbook. I'd like for you guys to make a copy of it and then do this with us. And, one of my mentors, I was on a call. So I've had this call twice this week so far where I was a student. And the one that I think is the most successful, he was talking about how he looks at his planning for the year several times a day. This is the most successful probably person that I know personally. He looks at his planner several times a day. And I think a lot of us, we kind of like have this surge. It's almost like when we join a gym on January 1st, and then like February 1st, we're like, see you later, Jim. I'm not doing that anymore. Right. So you've got to plan this out. So I think the number was, if you declare a goal, it's, I think it's 40% more likely that it's going to happen. If you write it down, it's 78% more likely that it's going to happen. This idea of us knowing where we're going to end up without a plan is pretty ridiculous, right? If you don't have a destination, then any road will get you there, right? But once you choose your destination, then you can align your actions with it. And if you don't do that, then you're just going to float around. And maybe you'll get to somewhere cool. Maybe you'll land on a cool island, or maybe not. Maybe you'll just float around. And the end of 2023, when we have this conversation again, you'll be like, okay, I clearly didn't make what I wanted. I didn't get out of this year what I wanted. Maybe if I plan it out and I just execute that plan, if you do that, you can't fail. So you got to take the time. You know, we're going to kind of work through this with the time that we have allotted today, but it's important that you kind of refront. This is not going to be perfect, right? They say perfection is it, like trying to be perfect is like a procrastination excuse. So we don't want to do that. We want to take action. We're going to manufacture what we want, and a lot of it is going to come on reflections, reflecting on things. So you know, when an airplane takes off, they're actually off target like 99% of the time, and they're constantly adjusting. And if you don't have your target and you can't work backwards from it, then you're going to be way more off target. So the reason that the airplane gets to where we're going, goes to the right location and gets there at the right time, is they're just like adjusting constantly. So let's start with a game plan of what we want to accomplish. And I don't care if you're at $0 a month or you're at whatever, $100,000 a month. This is a good strategy. The guy that I know that does this planning, like I said, he's the most successful person that I know. And this is what he's doing. And I just see it time and time again. You know, there's patterns that the successful people use. And I just see it in all of them. They're planning stuff out. So if I want to achieve what they have achieved, whether that be, you know, financially or personally or like whatever it is I'm trying to do, then like, why would I not follow these people who have all this same thing in common and they're successful with it? So Jeff, I know that you had some stuff that you wanted to share about this. You want to go?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, for sure. So Patrick and I haven't really compared notes on this, and what he's talking about is a lot of what I'm just going to talk about for just like 5 minutes. I've just been working on my own goals through 2023, and I worked through in a framework similar to the one that he's talking about right now. But I also, who's talking, Randy? Okay. But I also have tuned in with a mentor of mine, Erick Godsey. I took a course with him last year, and it was called Go for Your Win. So a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, or Patrick's going to talk about on this call, kind of came up in that coaching program. And then he also has this thing called the goal pyramid. So what it is it's kind of like, it pulls in a lot of stuff from Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning and Carl Jung and things like this. And it's just some of the things that he says that I want to relay to you guys will set the stage for what Patrick is going to go into more detail on. But creating a goal pyramid in the format that I'm going to describe here could be a really good way to kind of ignite what you're trying to set, that intention and that future that you want to create for yourself. So what Erick says is that if you don't bring forth what's inside of you will destroy you. I mean, I'm sure he didn't make that up, but that's kind of like the overall sort of mindset behind it. Is there's something inside of you that wants to materialize and be brought forth. You're like the acorn, right? You're going to turn into the tree, but you have to help yourself grow along the way. So play that acorn game. Like, think of your life as that game of transformation, of transforming from who you are now into what you want to become. And one of the best ways that I learned from Erick was to journal. So journaling can reveal the blocks and limitations that hold us back from transformation, from that transformation into what we want to become. And you, by doing that I've done it over the course of the past couple of years, and really it uncovers what sets your soul on fire. Like, what do you really, really want? And by journaling about the different parts of your life that you are unhappy with and the things that you want to bring forth, the way that you see yourself in the future, it's going to uncover the things that are holding you back. And that's, that will kind of like inspire you, incite this fire inside of you to do that. And, you know, we all have sort of this inner judge and critic that holds us back. And in this transformation, in the way that Erick teaches it, he teaches you to make that inner judge your greatest mentor, make that your mentor to guide you into the future that you want to have. And so it's like this transformation from the unbearable, you know, present into the ideal future, and taking the actions and the specific steps that you need to make that a reality. Because if you don't decide your future, your habits will determine your future, right? So you don't really decide your future, you determine your habits, and your habits determine your future. So you're going to have to work for that. It's not just, oh, I'm going to set goals, and like Patrick said, I'm not going to look at them, I'm not going to think about them again, and it's just like whatever. Like this is work, right? This is the work, but this is the work of your life, right? It's like time will eat all of us, but what mark will you make on the world in the meantime? Like what mark will you make on yourself, your family, your community, and the world by transforming yourself and bringing the reality to materialize, and helping other people, helping your clients grow their businesses, you know, helping other people transform their lives. And so one of the greatest powers that we have as humans is imagination, and having that vision. And that's what goal setting is it's vision, right? So this goal pyramid on level 1, basically what Erick has you do is identify what are the 5 or 6 daily habits that's going to create the foundation of this pyramid. Level 2, what are the 3 or 4 areas of interest that you want to set your sights on, that you want to expand upon and grow through? Level 3 is what are the 2 to 3 professional goals that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. And then level 4 is one word that encapsulates like, what is your ethos? What is your core value that you want to be known for, that you want to anchor yourself in on? What is that word that describes it? And then the final top of the pyramid is what he calls the superordinate idea. And it's basically something that's so big and grand, you can't even put it into a word. So you draw it into a symbol. So these are like, this is a symbol that you can look at. It's like a vision board, but it has those daily habits that you've committed to. It has those areas of interest that you want to continually, like that airplane, recalibrate yourself back towards, like, how are these habits like feeding into those areas of interest that I want to grow through? And then that will help me reach the professional goals and help me sort of anchor in that word, that thing that I'm trying to represent in my life for the people around me. So that's really all I have. I'm just going through it right now. And so this call was really timely for me to kind of expose you guys to that. And if you're interested in reading Erick's article about it, if you just Google Erick Godsey, he spells his name with a CK, and it's Godsey like it sounds, goal pyramid, and you'll find his article and you can blow through that. But I mean, I think it's a pretty amazing exercise to go through mentally to really identify the more broad, like macro areas of where you're trying to go in your life. And then I think some of the things that Patrick's is going to tell you tonight on the call is more of the detailed information, like what are the patterns that you're going to set, what are the structure around, the bigger structure around that. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Patrick, and thanks for letting me spew about that.
For sure. Okay, cool. Does anybody have any questions before we hop into this? We all set? We ready? All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to update the, if you guys are on Facebook, on that, the live stream, go on there. I'm going to put it into the description. So this is the document. And what I want you guys to do, you guys can each copy this into your own Google Drive and you can download it. Okay. So I've got it up in one group and I'm about to add it in the LeadSnap group now. So, all right, there we go. So if you look in the description of the video now, you'll see this document that we're going to go through. I would love to have a volunteer to step through this with me. You don't have to give a ton of like personal information if you don't want to. Is there somebody that is willing to step through this with me and let's set up your plan so that I have someone to work with on this? You sons of bitches. All right,
Yeah, I'll
Jeff,
do it.
who's up?
Who's Devon?
Devon, thanks. All right,
Stepping it up, Devon.
I'm here for you, buddy.
I appreciate it. All right, Devon. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk through this. And you've got this document on your own, right?
I just pulled it up. Yeah, I'm reading it.
Okay. All right. So we put a little bit of our own branding on there, but it's a little, all right, cool. All right. So we can see this document, and I'm actually going to take you through this step. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to click on make a copy of this document. And I'm just going to click here. So now that I've got this document here, so we're going to walk through this, and the more that you're willing to be vulnerable, I think the more that you'll get out of this. But let's talk about this. So I'm going to fill this out for you just as an example. So Devon, if you look back on 2022, what were some of your biggest wins that happened for you?
Hey, where's the link to that, Patrick?
It's in the description of the video. So if you look,
Okay, got it.
yeah, so if you kind of, I guess it's hiding right here now. I can throw it in as a comment too. Let me copy this link again. I'll throw it in as a comment as well. Maybe it's a little easier.
If you throw it in the Zoom chat, I'll throw it in the groups.
Okay. Okay, cool. So Devon, biggest wins. What do you got? Three wins. And this doesn't have to just be professional.
Yeah, no, it's just tough to recap a year on the spot like that and think of what some of the biggest wins are.
You're not going to get this perfect the first time, but you can
Of
just
course.
kind of like, yeah.
I got to fly first class for the first time this year. I thought that was a big mental like barrier threshold that I broke for me, like that attainment.
Love it. What else you got?
I
You
finally
making strides in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I got much more singularly focused as to how I wanted to generate leads and the type of contractors I want to work with. I used to be a lot more all over the place. You know, much earlier this year, I was still on the junk removal SEO train that,
Right.
Sounds
like you defined a niche maybe?
Not specifically, there's a few, but I haven't nailed it down to just one. But just the way that I'm generating leads now and the type of contractor, like I have a much clearer idea of like my typical avatar of who I want to work with.
Yes.
And how I want to get
You got clarity on,
yes.
on how things are going to go forward. Excellent.
Yes.
What else do you have?
A really big one that I've committed myself to is that I'm finally just refinding the discipline I've lost in myself to start doing things like more consistently working out, eating right, in a way where you always tell yourself, oh, I'm going to get to this, I'm going to do it. But instead of waiting to the new year, I've just made that commitment to myself.
Okay. Does this look good? What needs to be done? Right? Okay.
Yeah, off the top.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know that a year ago you were an active member in this. Did you set up your goals for 2022 of what you wanted to accomplish?
Yes.
How did you do?
I missed it for sure.
You missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So I did not reach all my 2022 goals. Lack of consistent action.
Okay. All right. So I think it's really important. I'm a huge believer. People say that wisdom comes from experience. I think that's not really true. I think wisdom comes from the reflection of experience, right? If you just keep doing the same thing and you don't think about it and you don't think about why it's not working, then maybe you'll do the same thing for a lot longer before you realize this isn't it. So this with our course correction is reflection. So you've already identified this lack of consistent. What did you say? Lack of consistent actions?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we know what we need to change, and that kind of aligns with what you're learning up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So discipline, self-care, and doing what needs to be done. That kind of aligns with that. I want to hear the 3 biggest lessons from 2022 for you. Biggest learning lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Some of this up here, your biggest wins are some learning lessons aside from learning how to fly first class, right?
That was an easy lesson. Yeah. That's one I don't mind repeating over and over again. That was hard to go back after that.
No, it's hard to say you can't go back there. That curtain just feels like a whole different world, doesn't it? So what are the 3 biggest lessons that you learned, or if you can't think of three, what's the first one?
The first one that comes to mind is that failure is imminent, but that's where progress is made, for sure.
Okay, so I guess like if we wanted to, progress comes from failure, maybe many failures, right?
Yeah. The more I failed, the further I got in business, for sure, this year.
100%, right? If you're just kind of like sitting there afraid to swing the bat, then you're already striking out. Essentially, you're gonna have to take some cuts, and you're gonna make, oh, okay, I missed. Let me make an adjustment. Let me make another adjustment, right? So you've got to get those reps in. Do you have another lesson that you can think of that we can add to this sheet?
I'm just trying to think off the top. I mean,
it's okay. I know I've got you on the spot here.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think, because there's a lot. It's a lot of racing thoughts, because really is just that. Like that was just for sure one of the biggest one that I would say another lesson is that usually anytime I got afraid of doing something is how I realized that it was one of the things I had to do.
Mm-hmm. So things that we are scared of are holding us back.
Yeah, it was outside of my comfort zone, for sure.
There's a reason that you haven't achieved this, and the fear is the obstacle that's stopping you from getting there. So it's going to stay there until you overcome it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on to this. This one should be a little bit easier. You don't have, like I said, you don't have to get this perfect, Devon, but this can be your favorite moments for business. This could be personal. It could be like, hey, I had this amazing time with my, I think, is it your girlfriend?
Mm-hmm. Still girlfriend.
Yeah. So whatever it is, obviously keep it appropriate, Devon. But what are your favorite moments?
I got to visit home twice for the first time in a calendar year, which I haven't been able to do since I left living with my mom in 2014. So that meant a lot to me.
Okay. What else you got?
One of them, I'm trying to pull it up. It was a text I got from a client who I'm working with, and I'm sending him leads right now before, he's not paying me yet, but I fully believe he's like a great business owner. His biggest pain point was getting the work. I feel like he has the right systems, but he branched off a little too soon and he didn't have consistent lead flow. He sent me this text that he just said, I'm honestly just barely staying afloat right now. Thank you so much for doing this for me and my team. It brings me to tears. It means more than you know for us. And it's just that connection. Yeah.
You're a lot like me, Devon. It's a lot of it for you is based on impact, right? It's not just on like numbers and flying first class or buying the nice car. It's like, what are we actually doing to try to help people, right? Do you have a third moment that you can think of?
Yeah, I think a really big one that I consistently look back to is actually taking the time to reverse engineer not just my goals, but it's like, what do I actually want? And and this came from our buddy Eugene's song, is creating this list of like my dream to-dos, like what gifts do I want to give? Who do I want to see? What other people do I want to help? And adding a quantifiable number to that. It didn't take too much time. Like I didn't go down too big of a rabbit hole, but just taking part of the day to start to figure out, like, I have a buddy who's a chef that recently lost his mom, but I know that he has a dream of wanting to own a food truck business. So I'm like, okay, what would it take to actually invest in that? Like, what if I wanted to be the main investor in that? Quantifiably, what would I have to do for that? My mom's dream is flying to Ireland. So it's like, okay, there are tickets to Ireland that exist. How much do those cost? What if I want to fly her first class? And figuring out, reverse engineering my goals and turning it into something quantifiable that I can measure so that I could actually create like a tangible target when it comes to numbers.
It's so much more real when we kind of define it. And that's really what this planning is about. So that sounded like a learning lesson. Is there a moment that you can actually capture when you think back and you say, it's like, maybe it's January 1st, 2023, we're an hour in, and it's like, these are my favorite moments. And like, they go by in a flash. For me, I'll give you an example. We bought this house, we got our keys, and we walked in and opening the door to our new house here in South Florida. We've been traveling. That was an awesome feeling. When we booked the event and all the people kind of came into our Airbnb, all like Spencer and all these people showing up, like they were so excited to be there and see us, and Eugene was there. That was an amazing moment for me to just kind of feel that love and support. Do you have that where it's just like, man, it's just, it was such an amazing, that's what I want you to capture. And
yeah, it's so to go back to one of the big things when I was talking about flying first class, I think like stepping on the plane and sitting in that seat for the first time.
There you go. Sitting down into this is not really, I get why this is driving. It's kind of like, hey, I've achieved something, I've worked and I've made something for myself, and now I can afford this, right?
Yeah, I just think back to like that flood of emotion of like something that from a poverty mindset, like growing up in poverty, just thinking of, it's such a small thing really in the grand scheme, but like it would just give me a moment of like an instant reflection of what is obtainable, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys, if you guys are filling this out and you have any questions, throw them into the chat. With anyone's confused about any of this, I think it's mostly self-explanatory. Jeff, are you seeing any questions anywhere?
I'm not. Can you increase the view size though? I think it'll show up better on the video and everything.
How's that?
Cool.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's keep rolling here. What are some of the things that you struggled with? So, and you guys, if you're not doing this at home, I encourage you, like, you can come along with us, but you should do this either way, right? And you know, it's easy to knock this out and then we can perfect it. So you've got the link, download it, work with us on this, kind of have a working session here. So what are some of the things? I can't see this once you copy it. So you can keep, you know, Devon, he's obviously sharing his personal journey, but whatever you guys put in yours, no one else can see it but you. So you have that confidentiality. So what are your struggles from 2022? We've kind of hit on a couple of these already with the way you shared some of the stuff in the beginning. But what were some of the things that were just really tough for you this last year?
Yeah, so I mean, one that again just kind of goes off of what we were talking about before. It was like I got much better at doing things, especially as the year has gone on, but still like looking back and reflecting, it's like realizing it's like a lot of progress is made in very boring work before you have like a team to hire it out. And it's just remembering my why enough to, all right, let me retract on that. I would say it's just that feeling that I needed to be motivated to get the work done when really most of the motivation would come from taking the action itself, rather than being motivated to do it. So it would just be on days where I knew there were things that were incredibly boring and dull, but I knew it moved the needle. I still had trouble at times, like motivating myself rather than just doing it.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, a lot of people think that they look at the event rather than the process to get there. They look at Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods or one of these people and they think like, man, this guy is on top of the world. But I'll tell you, most people don't want to be them and don't want to pay the cost of what they had to give up to be that person. And honestly, we love them for their abilities and their skills, but like a lot of these guys had to become such an asshole that you probably don't really want to be them, right? And that boring stuff that they did for so long is what created that, and that is what leads to results. You know, I've said this a million times. Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan because he was like jumping through rings of fire while shooting a shot over his head, right? He was shooting a jump shot, the same jump shot 1,000 times a day. That was where it came from, that boring stuff. So now we're going to talk about manufacturing our next year. Okay. So manufacture year. So let's talk about, we're going to break this in, and you don't have to have all of these. I just kind of gave you guys a template. So we've got some fitness goals. So I'm a big believer in, you know, if you don't have your health and you don't have relationships, if you're not continuously growing and educating, then, you know, I think you're at some point, you're not going to be happy and you're going to have some issues. We've got to be taking care of these different parts and pieces of our life. We have to be, a lot of us have this need, especially as entrepreneurs, to kind of be moving forward, right? So Devon, do you have any fitness goals for 2023? Something you want to achieve?
Well, I mean, so I'm already just working on it now. I just didn't want to wait till 2023. And it's just a few things like eating just a lot cleaner, or at least I should say, making the attempt to figure out what is best for me in terms of eating clean, right? Because that's kind of like a blanket term, but just figuring out like what's responding with my body, how I'm doing well.
Read this book. Here's right here.
My girlfriend has that book. She's a nutritionist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that book has been phenomenal for us, man. So educational. Anyone else out there, this doctor wrote this book. It's excellent. There's an audio version of it that we're listening to. Okay, so we're gonna have do you have like all right, so I guess this first goal is really going to be just kind of like eating healthier. And then what we want to fill in is how are you going to achieve this goal? So probably like, are you using like MyFitnessPal or what?
No, so I've done two things. One, I've joined a couple of groups on Facebook when it comes to people in regards to eating some of these ways. And just also I've had an accountability partner with this.
Awesome.
Just to help make sure that I'm staying on track with it.
Love it. Why do you think why does this matter to you, Devon?
So my mom late last year suffered 3 strokes at the age of 60. And thankfully, like while she's doing well, it's like, I've also, one of my close friends from back home, you know, I was saying before his mom passed away. And so it's just it's that memento mori thing. Like time doesn't wait for anyone, and just seeing what happens to people. It's like, I refuse to accept that. Like, I know I'm going to die, but I'm not going to give up without a fight and taking care of myself.
Right,
so,
right. So setting yourself up for longevity, essentially.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't really answer that correctly, but
I got you. I'll curate it. How is your life going to be different once you're eating healthier? And like, this is a shift I've made, and I can see direct stuff on how my life is different, but I want you to tell me how it's going to be different.
I'm going to enjoy existing in my body, you know,
right.
like
So happier. So it sounds like you're just going to be like, some of the stuff happier on a daily basis. Right. So myself, I've been exercising, lifting, running, playing soccer, all these different things pretty much my whole life. And somewhere around turning 40, I started to get like not like a typical 40-year-old belly, but one that I hadn't, that wasn't really a part of who I wanted to be. And, you know, I was looking for these options. We read that book, and over the last like 6 weeks, no processed food, no sugar, I've lost 6 pounds. My body fat is actually down, I think, 3% in the last 6 weeks. And my muscle mass is actually up. So I lost weight while gaining muscle, which is like, that's kind of crazy. I do go hard, but what was missing was this diet. I also feel less irritable. I monitor my sleep. My sleep's improved, my energy's better, my focus is better, just all these different things that have come from this. So it's huge. And this is why I think it's important for you to have this kind of like 360 degree on your approach to next year and not just focus on business. So if we go down here, I've kind of preloaded this. This was actually from last year. I'm just going to, just so that we stay on pace, because there's a lot more pieces on this. I'm just going to go through this and explain this. So this is an example, learn Spanish. I'm going to do, this should actually be 30 minutes a day with Pemsler. So when I can travel, I can understand more. I also just like, I'm living in South Florida. I want to keep leveling up. Education goal number 2 for me. You know, I'm a part of multiple different coaching programs. So I am paying for coaching on how to be a better software founder. Right. So I'm learning that. So that's a big thing for me, is like learning that piece. A third thing is, let's see here. I'm probably actually going to learn another language. I want to focus on, I want to learn Portuguese too. My wife's Brazilian. A lot of her family doesn't speak English. So being able to create that relationship with them, you know, we travel a lot. We spend a lot of time with both of our families. So being able to bridge that gap. So let's go over here to, and we'll just do one, Devon, relationship goal. So this doesn't have to mean your girlfriend. This could be your parents. It could be your friends, right? So an example for me, I've got a bunch of college buddies, and we've all gotten busy. Most of them have kids and we don't see each other very often. So creating this and like spending time with them and finding this, how am I going to achieve this? Well, I can get organized and I could come up with a really cool activity. And I could say, hey, we're going to go here. We're going to go skiing with my friend Patrick in Denver. He's got this house and he's got this awesome ring light, and we'll go stay there and we will have an amazing time. Why is this important? Because I think I think one of the most important things is to relationships with our friends and family. That's why I think it's important.
Don't forget your relationship with yourself too.
That's right. Yeah, you've got your relationship with yourself as well, the self-care, right? So, if you have heard of the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, they basically polled all these people that are on their deathbeds and they ask what they regret. One of the biggest regrets is letting their relationships with their friends and family slip away from them. They didn't spend enough time with them. So, Devon, tell me, what's your relationship goal? Let's just lay out one.
I'm gonna retire my mom from work next year.
That's amazing. I love that, dude. Retire mom from work. I can tell your mom has come up already like 3 times so far. She's obviously a very important person in your life. Maybe the first or second most important person. Why is this important to you?
She gave up so much as a single parent for me, so I just want to get back to her.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How will your life be better when you reach this goal? Your mom is retired now. She doesn't work. How is your life better?
She just gets an opportunity to have a life,
Yes. Maybe you guys get to spend more time together too.
Yeah. Well, and also I just want her to be able to do what she wants. I don't want her stuck she's worked the same job for 39 years.
100%.
So
Yeah. Mom gets to enjoy her free time, enjoy her life, really.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
She gets to have a life.
She gets to have one. That's awesome, man. I love where your heart's at with that. Let's talk finances now. Okay. So this is mostly an entrepreneurial coaching program, right? With what we're doing. So what is the number one goal for what we're going to achieve in 2023 from a finance perspective? And we're going to dive a little bit more into this in a minute, but what's a number that you want to get to maybe? Or
$35,000 a month in recurring profit by the end of 2023.
Profit. Okay. What's your profit margin? Do you know?
At this point, it's higher. That's where it's tough. I would honestly say it's around 85%, but since it's just me, it's like, that's a lot easier. So I already broke this down and I was aiming for, if I maintained a 40% profit margin to achieve 35K a month, 30 to 35K a month, I would need right around 80K a month recurring revenue.
Okay. Monthly recurring revenue. Why is this important? Why 35K?
So when I made out that list of all the gifts I want to give and the experiences I want to have, I would realistically be able to obtain a bulk of that list within the next 2 calendar years. So by the end of 2025.
I love it. I love that you have this based on something that is kind of tied to your vision, right? It's not just some sexy arbitrary number. It's like, hey, this is what I want for my life, and this is how much it's going to cost, and this is what I needed to achieve it in this time. That's what you guys need to do right there when you plan this stuff out, is have it tied to something based on something real. Almost everyone comes in and they're like, I want to get to 10K a month. Why? Why is that your number? Why is it that 85% of people choose the exact same number? Right. So we've got this to, you've got to have some stuff in Devon, your heart's in the right place, but I want to make sure, like Jeff said, the self-care, some of this 35K, I hope is for you doing some of this stuff, flying more first class, maybe going on that trip with your mom to Ireland.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. It's not just like when I'm able to, one of the things I found that I love the most is being able to give, like just help people out or like take care of them. Like, for me, if I can take care of my mom, take care of my girlfriend, take care of all these people who I care about, that it's not just for them, honestly. Like it's a little selfish in the same sense, but I know that if I do everything to take care of them, it helps me feel better in a way, knowing I've done everything I could.
There we go. You already answered this next question here, essentially. So you're going to get fulfillment from caring for your favorite people.
Yeah, I know they didn't they didn't get to achieve their goals they weren't able to achieve it, not because of me trying. Like, I know that if I'm able to hit those numbers, they're going to be able to do everything so that I don't have to live with those fears or regrets. I gave it my all to be able to help them.
I like it, man. I like it. And I just want, like, from like a coaching perspective, there's your mom's had 3 strokes and she's a single parent. But it's also, I'm the same way as you. I want to take care of my people, but it's also not 100% your responsibility to take care of your girlfriend and all these other people, right? That's just
no. So
I
I understand that it's not my responsibility, but I also know that it's within my realm of achievement.
I love that.
I feel like I would feel more shitty knowing that I didn't make the attempt, even though it's not my responsibility to do so.
That's perfect. I'm glad you've got that kind of fine line in there, because, you know, if something happens, you like, people can fall into these like guilt spirals of how they didn't do, and you got to do it for the right reasons. And it sounds like you're perfectly in alignment with that. So Devon, it's important for us to plan out our vacations too. So I want to hear some of the places you've got money coming in, right? We're making our way. We're moving forward. Where are you going to go? Let's set some time for this self-care as a part of this. What is vacation number 1? Where are we going?
We're going to Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going to achieve this? How are you going to make this happen? So, like, by building out your lead gen business, right?
Yeah. That's going to be through lead gen revenue that I'm going to fund that trip.
Okay. When is this trip happening?
I'm aiming for August of next year, just because that seems like that's a pretty good climate.
Okay. Can you get a little bit, can we just like pick a more precise date?
2nd week of August 14th.
How long are we staying?
7 to 10 days, you know.
Let's go 10, man. You're going all the way over there.
Yeah, you're right.
You're going to lose 2 days. You're going to lose 1 day on each end. You know how much this is going to cost?
I looked at airfare. I did not fully look at everything. I would say realistically between the two of us, because if we were to fly first class, that seems to average around $5,000 a ticket each way per person. So that could be $20,000 on there. And then if we're doing, you know, lodging, food, experiences, I'd say realistically like $30,000.
$30,000. I want you to actually get clear with that number before, when you go through and look at it. Look at this.
I've been tracking the flights and things like that. It fluctuates a lot. It's kind of hard to lock in that like cemented number on it.
Okay, so we've got this part of it in here. We have 10 days. I already know why this is important from earlier. Mom's dream vacation. I know the answer to this, but answer it for me. How is this going to be? What like, it's kind of the same question almost of like, why is this important? But
yeah, so I mean, like she sacrificed so much for me, so to be able to help her fulfill her dream, you know, the fulfillment that I get from that is unreal.
Some of the ways that we've answered these questions have defeated our questions later on. But what I want you to do is I want you to plan out 2 trips. We've got this one. What's another one? What's another one for you? You don't need to answer it now, but when you go through this, let's lay that out. Okay. So now we're going to talk, we're going to get more into like some business stuff here. So what is your revenue now? Your MRR?
MRR, I'd say like around, on the conservative end, 1.8K as of right now.
So we're at 1,800 right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to 30K. Sorry, 80K. No.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, the profit goal is like the higher one for me, but that's why I wanted to map out both just in case.
How many properties do you have?
Right now, I'd have to double check. I want to say 16 or 17.
And are these in like mid to high ticket niche? I know you made that adjustment.
Yes. A lot more of them are in concrete, spray foam. I'm trying a bunch of different things though, but there are a lot more in like either sub niches that are higher ticket or just more general niches that are overall higher ticket for sure.
Okay. So let's just kind of talk numbers. You've got 16. Let's pretend that each one of those can produce in concrete, let's say $2,000 a month, right? So that's 32,000. So you probably need, well, you're going to need like at least 40 of these that are actually client sites, right?
Yeah, I was so if I could find it, I know I wrote it all down. It's going to be anywhere from realistically 45 all the way up to 200 properties, right? Depending on if they're from 500 to $2,000 per property. On there, I have mapped all this out already. I've just
Let's not do the 500 ones, man. I would be.
No. I was just looking at a spectrum of it. Of course, it's
Right.
gonna like worst case, best case on it. I'm just trying to actually find out where I had written it on there. You know, going into tonight, I wasn't expecting.
I'm going to put 100 here just to keep this moving forward. And
Yes.
to,
Okay, I found it anyway as well.
okay. All right. So what are you going to charge these people? What's your average ticket cost going to be?
I'm not looking to go below 1,250 as a baseline per client.
Okay, so at 100 times 1250, what is that? Is that 122,000? Am I doing that?
125,000. Yeah,
125,000
top line.
Okay, so if we are going to, so this is 100K. So if we're going to get to 100K at 1250, so what is 100K divided by 1250? Is that like,
well, not to undersell myself, I was aiming for 80K, but on there, but so
let's do
like
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
80,000 to 1,250. So that's 64 clients at 1,250.
How many do you have now?
5.
Okay. What happened? What are you going to do? You've already taken your mom to Ireland. The end of the year, 2023, you've achieved this. What's the celebration?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Actually,
Aside from, you know, sending me a bottle of something, and what are you going to do to celebrate?
That's a great question. I don't know. My first reaction is probably just like go on the couch and cry in happiness and then watch MasterChef. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
We can build onto that. We'll just put in here couch crying MasterChef session, but let's do something bigger. Like
yeah,
maybe,
of course.
Maybe it's like you buy yourself a car, or you for me, clicking buy on those socks in the Amazon cart, or going.
No, I like that better. I'm gonna buy my my Porsche 911 that I want. So
Okay,
I'll do that.
that sounds a lot better than the couch crying.
Hey, I mean, it was the knee-jerk response. I'm trying here.
Yeah. Okay. Why are the goals outlined above important? Okay. We know this, like your whole life is going to be different. Is that where we're going with this? Why does it matter that you get to this number? You have the number goals.
The number came from me literally making a list of everything I want to do for the people who care the most for me.
Right.
So
it goes back to that same one, taking care. Okay, we'll just put taking care of my people. How are you going to do this? How are you going to increase your revenue? So you've been in this for a little while, and you've got to 1,800. What's different now that is going to actually happen in 2023? Like why is this year going to be different for Devon? And how are you going to do things differently?
There's a lot of ways. I mean, I have clarity on how I want to do it. So it's going to be through rank and rent. You know, I'm not going to be playing around with selling cloth face masks or running ads in the beginning or anything. I'm doing this solely through organic rank and rent on my end, and hiring out a team, building a team, because I know I can't do this by myself.
All right. How are you going to acquire new clients?
I mean, I'm going to try to answer that without it being just general, just consistent prospecting, you know, just
what does the prospecting look like? What is that method?
So it's going to be a mix between referrals through existing client base, especially as I build them up. And then I've just found great success through Facebook prospecting, be it through local groups or niche specific groups.
I think we had some extra questions sneak in here, and it's getting repetitive, and I'm just going to skip that. We've already talked about that kind of. Okay. So this next one is not, Devon, I don't want you to do this one now, but you other guys, if you want to pull out your phone. So this visualization, this is actually really powerful. This is how this goes. So if I pull out my phone and I'm just going to pretend to be Devon, it's going to go like this. Wow, what a year 2023 has been. I cannot believe I went from 1,800 to 80K, or is that what it was? 80K a month. And, you know, I'm so grateful that my agency is doing this. And now I have the freedom that I want. I was able to take my mom on that trip to Ireland. This is amazing. So I want you to talk as if it's already happened. I want you to play that message. And then I want you to favorite it. I don't know how it is on Android, but we can favorite this stuff and replay that. Like, get that into your brain. Let you want some serious brain soak with this. I don't want you to talk as if you're hoping. Talk as if this has happened. Own it, like feel it, lean into it when you're leaving this message for yourself, and then replay this and beat this thing into your brain, right? We need to take this and turn it into a reality. And this might seem weird and it might seem funny, but these little things are what, like, if you can believe in this, then it's going to happen. And the challenge is moving your mind to that spot where you actually believe it, and you line up your goals and then you follow those. Okay. So, all right. So it's super important. Famous quote here: ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. And if you don't, and you don't actually believe in it, it's probably not going to happen. So we're going to get into some of this stuff here. I talked about this last year. You guys are familiar with this. So I have this glass here. This is probably not the best way to do it, but if I were to take this and I were to put sand into this first, and if we were, we'll divide this up into rocks, pebbles, and sand. So the sand is the stuff that we get distracted with on a regular basis. And if I just start off by putting my sand in here first, then there's not going to be any place left for the pebbles and the rocks. The rocks are going to be the most important things to us. Those are the big things that we're focused on for the year. So I want each of you guys to come up with 4 of those things. What are the 4 most important things for this year? We're going to put those in first, and your time blocking and your scheduling is going to go around your rocks. Next, we're going to add in the pebbles, and then we'll put the sand around it. But we have to start off. Otherwise, if you don't do it in that order, the big things that are going to move the dial and move the needle for you are just not going to happen. There's going to be no room for them. So that's what this whole drawing is about. You guys maybe have seen this. So this could be your big agency goals, your important life goals, revenue, increasing your customers and clients, those things. Pebbles are going to be, the deliverables, the day-to-day stuff that we're doing. And sand is some of this other learning and planning. So if we kind of move down the sheet here, you can see we've laid out revenue for this. This doesn't necessarily have to be revenue. That's just, I guess, a sample rock that we have in there. This isn't how I had it. Sorry, guys. We were doing some edits here. I'm just going to change this a little bit here, and we're going to pull this out. Okay. So Devon, what's a big rock for you for this year? What is like, and you got 4 of these to accomplish during the year. So kind of think in those terms.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understood, because I remember you explaining with this last year, but I'm looking at this from the perspective of 2023. You mean?
That's
or
right.
Over end of this year? Oh, sorry, end of this year. Yeah, it's right there.
So 2023. So I'll help you here with this one. So if you want to get to 80K a month, and we know that we need 40 clients, and we currently have 16 sites, you're going to just apply the strict rank and rent model. One of those rocks is going to build a ton of sites, right?
Yeah. One of them for sure is to get to 100, websites and GMBs for sure. I want to have at least 50 rented sites is how I had it, or at least 50 clients is like.
You've got 16 sites here. We've got 100 here, 100 sites, right? So that's going to be one of our rocks for this year. So you need to think about this. And if you're going to have 100 sites, you cannot be pressing publish on December 31st of the year with your 100th site, because that's not going to get you to the number, your aggressive number that you have here. You probably need that 100 site to be published
realistically by the end of August.
I think if I were in your shoes, I would do it sooner.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they take longer, and we will like, how can you want to front load site development stuff and GMBs, like it's gonna, like those can take a month or more to get sometimes, right?
That's true.
And we might lose some. So we want to, like NASA, where we're like planning and we're like having like backup plans to this. You can't just like, okay, I'm going to like, everything's just going to work the first time. This is not how it's going to play out. That's like, this like overestimating our future selves in a plan is a huge flaw that most people have, myself included. So I want you to think about that and choose accordingly. So do you have another big rock that we can put in here?
I mean, I guess it would be part of Rocky, but it's hard. I don't know how I would quantify this because I want to have a team,
Okay, so you got to hire a team.
Yeah.
How many you got? It's you say there's 2 people, you and someone else?
No, right now it's just me. At this,
Okay,
like
so
I have a
person?
for hire website builder when needed, but it's like on call. I wouldn't say it's like a staff member or anything like that.
Who are you going to hire?
I'm zooming for a content writer, a backlinker, a developer, a setter, and then like a salesman / project manager, since I know retention is also going to have to be in it, something to focus on as more time goes on.
Yeah, I think that for where you're at, unless you're going to be running Google Ads and doing that method to start with, and you could probably have this, the salesperson could probably do the setting, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like a really streamlined fulfillment process, then like having that setter may not be necessary, where you're like, person in, go here, and otherwise you're going to be dealing with some fulfillment stuff. So backlinker, dev, backlinker, content writer, and sales / customer success.
Yeah. We're
going to cover this stuff a lot in the for those of you guys that are interested in the course that we're launching, this is like, we're going to really cover this process of hiring and choosing the right roles, job posts, all these different things, the order, who you should have, in what order you should kind of bring these people on. So we've got our rocks there. Okay, so for our money making, this is kind of what we were talking about earlier. We've got the Facebook prospecting. What else are we going to do to find clients?
Valuable referrals, I think, is another really big one. Still, so that's going to be clients.
Yeah, you're going to have to be all over that customer success if you're getting the referrals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How often are you going to be doing this Facebook prospecting?
This is where it's tough. I want to do it. It's more, for me, I think it's more important to be consistent than doing it in these big chunks. I want to do it 20 to 30 minutes a day. But also I'm like running out. Like where I'm struggling is the time management and like this coordination of it all. So like if I'm prospecting 20 to 30 minutes a day, then at times I'm like running out of things to prospect for, or like making sure I'm doing like transferring the calls over and that everything's going right. It's just bouncing all the plates. But realistically, 20 to 30 minutes every day, I want to be prospecting. So I just like a few Facebook messages and things like that.
Yeah, I think you got to constantly be refining that method too. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into this a little bit more. So this, we've talked a little bit about the holidays. We've got our deliverables. So these are going to be smaller things. So you got to take some time off. We know that we're going to Ireland we've got 10 days. What else? What about your birthday, Christmas, all these things? We're going to take that time off, right?
Usually, I mean, not really. Usually, I'd like taking time off probably like once a quarter, I'd say, and just give myself like a little reboot. I don't really pay much attention to the holidays, honestly.
So, Mr. Scrooge here, you still need some time though to. It's my firm belief, and I'm learning this. I kind of learned this the hard way. Is when we take time off, we come back refreshed and we're actually more productive with our work. So even if you're not traveling somewhere, take some time off for yourself. Like Patrick was talking earlier, he's going skiing in the mountains. He's taking some time for himself. That day that he described, he's working on that day. But I think it's good to have some time off. How many days do you think you took off during 2022?
So I did try and make it a focus for quite a while to take Sundays off, like just very, very light. Like I aim to be 6 days a week most of the time, because that, I don't know. I used to be a college football recruiter, so I was already used to working a lot of time. So I feel like I already do work less than I used to. It might just be like a distorted perspective, but.
Right. I want to make sure, encourage you. I would say track your time and then increase it next year. Like we might enjoy this and we might enjoy working. And when you're at this like 1800 perspective and you kind of feel like you have this closing clock on trying to take care of the people that matter most to you, there's some urgency to get there, but you can get there faster by actually coming back refreshed and thinking clearly and just being positive and focused. All right. So we are past the time already. So I just want to kind of bounce through this, and the sand is going to be kind of like some of these other things. So you can look at learning and development, some of the things, plan it out. What days, when are you going to do that? The family events, the time with friends, right? Your birthdays, some hobbies that you enjoy, right? Maybe playing a video game. What about taking care of the team you're going to build? This is an important one that I've really embodied, that personal care, right? So, this planner is available to all you guys. And if you haven't done it on here, I would encourage you to go through it, because your chances of success and getting what you want are so much higher if you kind of take the time to lay this stuff out. So let you guys throw it in the chat if you're still tuned in for Devon. Devon, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing this. Devon, do you feel like you have some more clarity on 2023 based on laying this out?
Yeah, I think it's going to help. Like I've already known the 30,000 foot view of like what I want, but obviously breaking it down to more actionable, consistent steps. And I also had a couple of blind spots as well that, like with what you're highlighting, like team care, focusing more on time off. Absolutely. I do think it's beneficial.
That's hard stuff to do for us, that if you didn't watch that entrepreneurial personality type, the EPT from like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would go through that. There's a lot of like parts and pieces that we have a lot of things in common. Everyone that's probably on this call that is trying to run their own business, there's things that we neglect about ourselves and kind of like prioritizing the business ahead of it. But life is too short to just focus on trying to make money. We've got to blend in the time, and we've got to plan it out, or it's just not going to happen. The things that you don't write down, if you don't write them down, I'd be willing to bet most of them aren't going to happen. If you do write them down and you execute a plan, it's a guarantee they will happen. So Devon, thank you. I appreciate you. I know that we kind of like stretched this out, but I hope you got some good value from this. And for you guys, I hope we can set up 2023 to be successful with this. So just to give you guys a heads up, we'll be here next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, I will not be here. I will be in the Big Apple and having a great time celebrating New Year's and taking some time for myself with my friends and family. So you guys, thanks again, Devon. You guys have an amazing week. We will see you next week. For next week will be the last call of the year. All right, you guys, we'll see you in the group, and let's create some wins between now and next Wednesday.
Thanks,
Adios, amigos.
Thanks for participating, Devon.
You're welcome. See you guys.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll see you.